Hi to everybody. I have imagined this scene in my head of this thing right here a lot of times. But in my dreams, you were a lot fewer. Now you're a lot, as you can see. As you have just heard, I am here to present a photographical project, an idea of mine. But Hands of Moldova. And as you can see from your notebooks, I'm the third one, and I'm here to present a photographical project. But that's not it. In order to do so, I will have to talk to you about discrimination, about human hands, and about the power we all have to change things. First of all, I would like you all to imagine a thing for me. I would like you all to imagine one of the worst days of your life. Think about the kind of day when you get outside from your office, let's say. It's pouring rain and you forgot your umbrella at home. Or maybe you're at the office already, you are sipping your favorite coffee and you spill it over your shirt and you have absolutely nothing to wear. That kind of day that when you get home, you say, Jesus, thank you. It's over. Well, I was having one of those really bad days. I went to school, I got some bad marks, and when I came home, all I wanted to do was just throw my backpack on the floor and browse the internet. And that's what I did. I was roaming around Facebook when a really interesting TED Talk appeared. It was called How the Worst Moments in Our Life Define Who We Are by Andrew Solomon. So Andrew Solomon is an award-winning writer. And what he did was talk about his past sorrows and experiences in his childhood that motivated him to become a really successful man later in life. When he was a kid, he was bullied because he was gay. He was different, and his classmates mocked him for this. They sang songs about it. Motivated by all these sorrows, he later became an LGBT ambassador, a really well-known writer, and he wrote for New York Times. Now, you might wonder, why am I telling you this today? It makes absolutely no sense. Well, it does, because this is exactly where my story starts. My name is Gabriela Ciobanu. I am 17 years old, and 5 years ago, I fled here in Italy because I left my country, which is called Moldova, because it was politically and financially falling apart, and it still is. And just like Andrew Solomon, I had the same problem. I felt discrimination on my skin. My first year in Italy were really rough because my classmates didn't make me feel a part of the whole club, let's put it this way. I was different. I was new, I looked different from them, and I did have a funny Italian pronunciation, now that I think about it. And besides all that, I knew what he meant. I could relate to him. And in spite of all these things that made me feel just like him, there was one major difference between me and Andrew Solomon. Well, except for the fact that I didn't write for New York Times, not yet. But the major difference was the fact that while he built a better future for himself, learning from those experiences, I decided to do, you know what? Absolutely nothing. All my past experiences, I've put them in a big box, and I buried it deep underground. I eventually started high school, and I met better people. They understood me, and they loved me for who I am. And I forgot about all those bad things. I said, who cares? It's the past, you know? The rest is history. But that was wrong, because while I was watching that video of Andrew's, I understood an important thing. That is not the right thing to do. We have to build meaning. Inspired by his speech and inspired by my own big passion for photography, visual arts, and journalism in general, I decided to make a change, my own tiny change. I decided to create a social project. I called it Hands of Moldova. And be patient, I promise I will explain it all to you. What I did was think about a platform that was accessible to absolutely everybody. A platform that could allow people to relate to to each other and get inspired by each other without being limited by age, gender, race, skin color, or sexual orientation. It had to be judgmental free, let's put it this way. Another thing that I wanted was to keep people as anonymous as possible, because when you don't see somebody's face, you don't get conditioned. So this is exactly what I did. How did I apply all this? I created the Facebook page, I started photographing people's hands, and then I asked them personal questions about their life. What was the person that inspired you the most? How did your mother look when you were a kid? What was your favorite fairy tale? Personal questions. And then I took their answers and put them right below the picture, without any name or anything that could betray their identity. So, with all these ideas in mind, and with all these sketches and plans for the future, I flew back to Moldova this summer 2016. And what I did was start interviewing absolutely everybody I knew. I started from friends and family, but soon I received a lot of messages from people that I didn't know at all, that text me that they wanted to share their story. They had an interesting tattoo, or maybe they had something they really wanted to share with the rest of the world. Now, you might ask yourselves a really good questions. Why hands? You could have photographed absolutely everything, right? Feet, or maybe the body, but not the face, right? Well, I will explain it to you. So, in order to do that, I will ask you to pay attention to your own hands in this moment. Please spread your fingers and pay attention to those, and look at the ones right next to you as well, because you can do that, right? Well, you can now put them aside. I hope you looked at them really well. Well, you've lived with them your whole life, I hope so. And well, what I want you to see is not only 10 fingers, the wrist, the palm, the back of it. I want you to see something more. I want you to see 4 important elements: birthmarks, scars, tattoos, and accessories. Birthmarks are a unique sign that everybody of us get when we are born, are signs that absolutely nobody can replicate, that we cannot change, and that speak loudly about our genetics and our roots in general. Scars are the signs that mark our experiences, our childhood. Maybe somebody of you fell from a tree when they were a kid, or maybe somebody of you work in a factory, so they're full of scratches. My dear friend Alessandra, she is having those big marks on her hand because she loves what she's doing. She's doing sports and she's ambitious about it. So they speak loudly about us. Last but not least, we've got accessories, which imply watches and jewelry, which say a lot about our tastes, our preferences, what we like, how we are like. And the last one is not that common, but when there is a tattoo on your body, it really means that an event, a person, or something was so important to you to mark on your skin forever. So with all these ideas in mind, and with all these important elements, I was here today to talk about Hands of Moldova. But that's really not it. I mean, I said a big fat lie in the beginning. It's not about the page itself. It's about an idea, an exercise that we could apply in our everyday life. But before I proceed to my idea and to the exercise that every single one of you can apply in your everyday life to build a trusting and reliable relationship with the ones that you don't know, I would like to talk with you about my short but really intense experience in Moldova. So, as you will see right now, I have seen people who have saw the war, the ones that felt its consequences on their own skin. I have interviewed people who were in a relationship for years and that struggled with love and feelings and passion. At the same time, I saw people who were passionate about what they were doing. I saw people ambitious with dreams for their future. And last but not least, and that's a really important category for all of us, I have seen people that almost gave up. I saw people that were this close to ending their life, and that were the people that marked me the most. Now, that was my experience in Moldova. So the status quo of Hands of Moldova right now is the fact that I have hosted my first exhibition in the capital of Moldova, which is called Chisinau. I have been interviewed for several web magazines in Moldova as well, but 3 days ago, an Italian magazine asked me to do as well, which is called Viva. And well, I'm not here to brag about my project. As I said, that's not my aim. What I'm here for is to invite you to do a tiny thing. So let's put it this way. The next time that you meet somebody that is completely different from you, from a different cultural background, or somebody you've never seen before, do this. Instead of looking right in front of you, lower your glance and look at the hands. Because I promise you, those hands will tell you absolutely everything you need to know. Look at those hands, and I promise you will see tattoos, birthmarks, scars, and all kinds of accessories. Look at those hands, and I promise you will hear the story from a different point of view. Look at those hands, and I promise you we could transform Hands of Moldova into Hands of the Universe, a community filled with acceptance, freedom of speech, and, in the end of the day, empathy. Now, if there is one last thing that I really want you to remember from my speech today, then it's this one. Andrew Solomon, the man, the LGBT ambassador I talked to you about earlier today, he was bullied because he was gay. I was laughed at because I was different. I was new. I was a stranger. But my point is that if being different, being the exception to the normal, being the weird kid, is the price that we, the victims of discriminations, have to pay in order to become so ambitious, successful, and stubborn later in life, then please do believe me, it is totally worth the effort. Thank you.